How isn't she not doing well? Belle asked in confusion. Well, Kiara looked down for a moment before looking at her daughter. Your grandmother is getting old for one, and second, she's slowly declining her health. Belle was stunned by what her mother said. Why, Mother? Why is it happening? Belle asked. I don't know, sweetie. We all get old in life, and Grandma is not as young as she used to be. It's part of the circle of life, Kiara replied. Meanwhile, at Pride Walk, Belle, along with Zubri, walked inside their home to see Rafiki tending to the old lioness. Nala looked at her granddaughter with Zubri, as the two lions walked towards Nala and sat down right in front of her. Hey, Grandma, Belle said to Nala. Hey, Belle. I'll be fine, and as soon as I'm no longer will be in pain. Nala replied to Belle, only to tell her not to tell her that she was dying. But since Kiara told her about Nala not doing good, she knew that she was dying. I hope you'll be okay, Belle nudged Nala as she slowly stood up, although she was off balance. Belle, I may see you along with Zubri outside, Rafiki asked. Of course, give us a few minutes, please, Belle requested as she saw how weak Nala was getting. She was starting to have wrinkles shown on her face. Nala was going to pass on any time now, which means that she'll be with Simba in heaven. Your grandfather would have been so proud of you right now, Nala said with a smile on her face. I remember playing in the Pride Lands with Grandpa as well, Belle replied as she looked down at Nala, who laid down from being off balance. Those were wonderful memories, Belle. I can just see you and Zubri as future king and queen. Nala rolled on her side while she looked up at Zubri and Belle. I'll be back in a few minutes, Zubri said as he and Belle walked out of Pride Rock to see Kovu and Kiara with Rafiki. I'm afraid Nala isn't going to last much longer. She is slowly dying, Rafiki said sadly to the Pride. Kiara began to cry as Kovu comforted his mate. Belle began to have tears rolling down her face. No! Why does this have to happen? Belle sobbed. It's the circle of life, honey. We get old and slowly die eventually, Kovu replied. Now you can all spend your last moments with her, Rafiki said, as Kovu along with Kiara and the rest of the Pride gathered around Nala. She wasn't doing well. You can't die, Belle said to her grandmother. Belle, we're born, we live, and when our time comes, we die, Nala began weakly to Belle. It's all part of the circle of life, and we all don't live forever, you know. Grandpa wouldn't want this if he was here, Belle sobbed as Zubri sadly patted his mate's back. Belle, I know it's really tough right now. You need to be strong for your parents, Nala replied weakly. I'm going to miss you, Mother, Kiara replied to her mother. I'll be with Simba soon. I'll watch over you all, Nala said to Kiara as her breaths became slow and weak. I'll look out for my parents, Grandma, and for you, Grandpa, Belle told Nala as the weak lioness looked up at her granddaughter. I know you will, Belle. Will always live in your hearts, Nala replied as she took her last breath. Take care of them, Belle. Nala closed her eyes as she died from the slow, painful way of getting old. She died right in front of her family. Rafiki looked to see that Nala had died. I'm sorry. She's gone, Rafiki said sadly to Kiara and her family. They all started to sob. They lost yet another great queen that lived longer than the past king did. Kovu arranged a funeral for Nala the next day. The next day at Pride Rock came, and all the lionesses with the Lion Guard, Timon, Pumbaa, Zazu, and Rafiki were all there at Pride Rock. I'd like to gather everyone here today for the funeral of a past queen that we sadly passed yesterday. Kovu began his speech. We have all lost another member of the Pride Lands, who was once a queen to us all. All the lionesses, including their friends, were saddened by the news of Nala dying. Even Kion was close to breaking down into tears, with Rainy as well. We lost a mother, a grandmother, a past queen, a friend, a mate to the past king, and we'll all miss Nala very much. Kiara and I will continue to be king and queen of the Pride Lands, Kovu added. Nala will be in our hearts, with memories of her being queen will always be with us. Well, Belle sighed in sadness to Zubri, at least she's with my grandpa now. After the funeral of Nala's passing, the whole Pride was slowly trying to get over the tragedy. Belle was now a full-grown lioness, and she was walking with Johari, her step-niece. The two lionesses were walking around the Pride Lands. How does it feel to be part of the Lion Guard? Belle asked her step-niece. You get to go out to the Pride Lands and even fight bad ones threatening our land. It's pretty nice. I still miss Nala, though, Johari replied sadly. I understand. I miss her too. Belle sighed with sadness as she looked at her own reflection of herself. At least she's with my grandpa. I miss Simba too. He protected you from the hunters as a cub, Johari replied as she sat down beside her friend. He did, and Grandma did a lot with us as cubs, Belle began. She loved us so much as our moms do, and she even spent time with us. Belle then looked to see that she and Johari were close to the elephant graveyard. What is this place? Johari asked Belle. It's called the elephant graveyard. My grandparents told me about this place where the hyenas were, Belle replied as the two lionesses stepped into the shadowy place of the Pride Lands. Never heard of this place. Is it close to the Outlands where we are? Johari asked. Well, it's pretty much, yeah, Belle replied, as she and her step-niece have never stood a foot into the elephant graveyard. It did look scary, plus it looked like the Outlands. My grands came to this place when they were cubs. It was before Mufasa passed on. I'm confused, Belle. Who's Mufasa? Johari asked as Belle got up close to the huge elephant skull. Mufasa was one of the kings in the past. He was Simba's father, Belle replied as she sat down. Simba wanted to know about this place, so he took Nala and they did Zazu so they could explore. But they were soon chased down by hyenas. They were Scar's henchmen. Man, I never knew the hyenas lived here, Johari said as she tripped over a piece of bone on the ground. They did with Scar until he killed Mufasa and became king. Belle continued to explain about the elephant graveyard to Johari as the red lioness listened to her niece's words. Man, Simba shouldn't have come here with Nala as a cub. He could have been killed and then we wouldn't be here right now, Johari replied, shaken up by the story of Simba entering the elephant graveyard as a cub along with Nala. That's right, but I'm glad Mufasa saved his son and Nala from danger, Belle replied as a chuckle of laughter was heard, but it wasn't from a hyena. An outsider lioness came out from the pile of bones. It was Scarlet who chuckled. Well now, what do we have here? Kovu and Kiara's daughter with Itani's adoptive one? Scarlet mocked in an evil way. We know you. Daddy told me about who you are, Belle replied. You were mentioned by my grandparents. Is that so? Well, what do you two are doing here in the elephant graveyard? Scarlet asked. Did Daddy send you here? Stop talking about my father. Nala, of course, Belle snarled while baring her teeth. I know Kovu better than... Scarlet was then soon cut off by Belle's ranting. Ever! Belle roared. Her roar was very powerful, but not as powerful as the Lion's Guard's roar was. Your roar is just as good as your father's. Well, it looks like we'll have to fight now. Now we'll see who's better, Scarlet replied as she and Belle began to fight each other, leaving Johari confused, but worried for Belle. The fight was involving Belle and Scarlet pouncing and biting onto each other. As Scarlet swiped at Belle's face, she fell to the ground and she had a scar on her face near her mouth. Johari could see that Belle was bleeding, so she pounced on Scarlet, who attacked her. Belle got up to see that Zubri, who roared and then charged at Scarlet. As Johari was pushed away by Scarlet, Zubri started to attack Scarlet. As Zubri was a very big lion, he was able to take on Scarlet with no problems. The outsider panted in exhaustion. Get out of here, Scarlet. You belong here in the Outlands. Don't you ever dare attack my friends again, Zubri growled as Scarlet ran off. His attention soon turned to see Johari and Belle. Are you two okay? He asked. Belle's got a scar on her face, near where her mouth is, Johari explained as Belle showed her mate the scar on her snout. It was bleeding, so Zubri looked around. He found a cloth and used it to cover the scar up. Belle, of course, looked tired and scared as well as Johari. Scarlet will pay for this. She could have killed one of you girls, Zubri replied. He, along with Belle and Johari, were returning home from the elephant graveyard. At Pride Rock, Kiara, along with Kovu, Vitani, and Banu, were waiting for Belle, along with Zubri and Johari, to come home. Kovu was getting worried about his daughter, so he looked up to see his daughter, along with his mate and stepniece, returning home. What happened, Belle? Kovu asked as he ran up to his daughter. He could see the blood staining his daughter's snout area. Scarlet attacked her, and Johari at the elephant graveyard. Zubri explained. Kovu then could turn to Belle with a stern look on his face. Belle knew that she and Johari weren't supposed to go to the elephant graveyard, but yet she disobeyed her father. You disobey me, Belle. After I told you not to go to the elephant graveyard, Kovu said sternly to his daughter. Father, please, me and Johari wandered there. We had no intentions of going there, but we ended up there and that's when Scarlet attacked us, Belle replied. And she gave you a scar on your face? Kovu asked in anger. Belle, she could have killed you and Johari. You two were lucky that Zubri alive to save you two. I saw when then and we wandered there, so I followed them, Zubri said to Kovu. Belle was trying to protect us from Scarlet. She was threatening her. She had the right to disobey her father? That's no excuse, Zubri. She could have... Kovu rant was cut off by Kiara. Kovu, stop! Kiara shouted. Yelling isn't going to help. Belle's hurt, so you should be worried about her right now. But Kiara, Kovu then began, but was before getting cut off by Kiara again. Yes, I know she disobeyed us, but you shouldn't be hard on her. Of course, Kiara added, while giving Kovu an angry glare. Kovu calmed down, and of course looked at his daughter. Belle, I'm sorry for going off on you like that, but what you and Johari did was wrong, and I'm just worried about you two, Kovu said to his daughter as Rafiki showed up with Zazu. Is Belle okay? Of course, Rafiki asked. Yes, she is. She has a scar on her face, though, Zubri replied as Rafiki removed the cloth from Belle's snout to see blood stains around her mouth. Then he got his healing stuff and began to dress the wound. Johari looked to see Vitani walking towards her. Is it true you two wandered in there and not planning to go there? Vitani asked. Yes, it's true, Mother. We wandered there, but we didn't know it was dangerous, Johari replied as Rafiki was finishing dressing to Belle's wound. Kovu looked at his daughter. I have a scar too, Belle, and it's not the end of the world. Before Zira died, I ended up having a scar when she smacked my face, Kovu said to Belle. I'm sorry for disobeying you, Father, Belle said. I know you didn't mean to, Belle. We all disobey our parents as kids, and even when we're all grown up. Kovu reassured Belle with a smile. The next day went on, and Belle was lying down near the Pride Rock. She looked up to see Banu along with Kiara and Johari going on a hunt. As Belle looked around, she could see that there was a beetle on the ground, and she ate the beetle and looked up to see Zubri walking up towards her. He was carrying something in his mouth. What's that? Belle asked her mate. Some flowers. They're lilies. Of course, Zubri replied as he placed down the flowers on the ground. Thanks, Belle replied as she looked at the flower. She sniffed them and then sighed. Oh, I love the smell of flowers, she said. I do too, and I do know where Scarlet is, Zubri replied as Belle stopped sniffing and breathed in a flower, which made her sneeze it out. Where is she? Belle asked. She's in the Outlands, and she's planning to lure Kovu into a trap, Zubri replied. I think she's planning on killing him. We have to warn my dad about Scarlet's trap, Belle said in a worried tone. I'll warn him right away, but we better see that we'll see what your father wants to do. Zubri ran off into Pride Rock to find Kovu. He found the king napping when Zubri gently woke him up. Zubri, what's going on? Kovu asked groggily as he was waking up. I just found out where Scarlet is. I don't know how or why, but I sense it, Zubri replied to the king. Really? Kovu asked with a shocked look at his face. Where is she? And what is she planning? She's planning to lure you into a trap. We have to do something about it, Belle replied as she ran inside Pride Rock to follow Zubri. What should we do, Kovu? Zubri asked. Is there any way we could bring her down? We're going to war. We'll bring all the lionesses and the lion guard with us, Kovu stated.